Yeah, g'day. Welcome back. And got a bit of a story about my bike's tail rack assembly. It's basically been a highly expensive and not always successful enterprise. I had first off the phaser tail rack, which I got off AliExpress, which did quite well. It bolted onto the grab rail bolts on the back of the motorbike, and it held my top box up, and once I was able to actually go somewhere and not worry about whether or not I could carry stuff home if I stopped up at the shop. That was great. Then I decided that I wanted rigid panniers, and so I bought the shat panniers and the universal pannier mounts, which would not work with the existing tail rack. So I needed to come up with something, and anyone who's seen any of my earlier videos will remember the custom-made folded and powder-coated ones that I put together and put on the back of the bike. Unfortunately, there was a serious design flaw with the way I put that together. For a start, I used aluminium angle brackets that were going to stop it from bowing and bending, except they didn't. They themselves bent out of shape and didn't do a heck of a lot at all. So with aluminium angle irons not being, well, angle brackets not being strong enough, I thought steel box section. So I went and bought some steel box section, and I cut that to length, shaped it up a bit, and bolted that in place of the angle bracket. And I thought, good, that works, it's nice and solid. But what I discovered when I went to ride my motorcycle up to Hamilton in the midst of what turned out to be record-breaking high-pressure winds, highest in the last 30 years, the top box is sitting far too far up. I basically guesstimated where to put the top box when I was measuring up the bike for the brackets, and I thought that'll miss that and that'll miss that, and I made it, a little bit too much in all directions just to make sure it wasn't too close to the bike, wasn't going to foul the bike. The end result of which I wound up with something that was way too high and way too far back. So it's jutting up, in danger of taking out low-flying planes as I'm riding down the road, and acting like what Archimedes would recognise as an extremely effective lever. You won't hear the end of this one forever. But the practical upshot was only the slightest amount of push on the top box was enough to make the back end waggle like nobody's business. And with these 75 kilometre per hour plus side winds, I was getting more than a little slight push. It was one of the most terrifying ordeals of my life, riding first of all from Taihape to Waihuru before deciding, no, this is not going to stop anytime soon, and ultimately electing to give up my attempt to get to Hamilton and turning around and riding back home from Waihuru back to Palmerston North, fighting the crosswinds all the way from Waihuru down to Bulls. Fortunately, at Bulls, we turn onto State Highway 3, and it wound up being a tailwind rather than a crosswind, which was nowhere near as bad. A little bit of buffeting, a little bit of wiggliness, but nothing compared to the sustained fighting that I had to do all the way down from Waihuru down as far as Bulls. It was extremely dangerous, and started to rain at around about Hunterville. So the last bit from Hunterville to Bulls was also in blinding rain. And on the whole, it was not a particularly fun experience. And it rapidly came to my attention that what I should do is replace that with a decent towel rack. So on AliExpress I found the towel rack for a GW250, or Inazuma 250 as it's known in some places. And that fits perfectly onto the grab rails of the GSX 250, and I was able to put that on, and it holds the tail rack, it holds the top box a lot lower, a lot closer into the bike, and at a better angle too. So it's no longer a massive great lever hanging off the arse end of the bike. Of course that meant that I had to somehow put my brackets back on it for the panniers, and of course the main thing I had for that was the existing custom thing. So they're still pretty good at holding the pannier frames in place. So I just cut the entire tail rack section off my custom thing. So there goes close to $300 worth of custom work. So here's the new tail rack, which is much lower than the custom one that I built, and holds the top box down in a much better position, and it still works with the pannier frames. And what I've done is the custom racks that I made, as you can see, I quite crudely cut the end off with an angle grinder. So this is now just the part that bolts onto the grab rail brackets and holds on to the universal shad 3P pannier mounts. And that is the sad tale of nearly killing myself in high winds, because I was too stupid to think that a tail rack jutting up like a flag was going to be a dangerous thing. So anyway, it's good night from me.
And it's good night from him. Good night.
Good night.